Welcome to the Keweenaw Peninsula, Michigan's most northern reach, where the road ends and the wilds begin. Today at Great Getaways, we're going to be traveling up the historic US 41, where we're going to be going and hiking one of the most remote and beautiful trails here in Michigan, the Montreal River and Falls. But first, we're going to be stopping at some of the iconic spots along the way. We had a lot going on, so let's get started. Our first stop is Calumet, a town born from copper. In the late 1800s, this place was a booming mining metropolis, home to immigrants from around the world. Today, the past echoes through its streets, buildings, and stories. Calumet is also the heart of the Keweenaw National Historic Park. This park isn't like most. It's a network of heritage sites. I was lucky enough to meet with the park's first superintendent over 25 years ago, Bill Fink, to talk about preserving this living history.
Legislation was introduced and worked through Congress by former Congressman Bob Davis and by Senator Carl Levin, and they were successful October 27, 1992, with the signature of the bill that created Keweenaw National Historical Park. The bill authorized the Park Service to establish this new unit, get it going, have a great variety of stories to be told here. These are stories that relate not just to the technology of copper mining, but to the many immigrant lives that were made a part of the copper country, to the stories of the rise and fall of organized labor, the stories of corporate paternalism, the stories of Aboriginal mining by prehistoric Indians, the stories of early exploration, the stories of the first mineral rush that beat the gold mine rush, the California gold rush. Stories of men laboring with hand drills and dynamite to take a shaft 9,000 feet into the ground, 6,000 vertical feet into the ground. Stories of the great development of society and neighborhoods throughout the Keweenaw, a population that was perhaps county-wide 3 times greater than the population is now. Stories of a heyday, stories of forward thinking, stories of isolation in the wintertime from the world down below, stories of the evolution of a technology that eventually became so successfully developed that it could be applied elsewhere throughout the western United States, and it drove these copper mines out of business. All these stories and many more are here to be told and explored with this new unit of the National Park System.
Bill brought a passion for both history and community, working closely with local partners to protect and promote the copper country's legacy. His vision helped shape the park into what it is today, a unique collection of sites, stories, and people that celebrate the region's rich mining heritage. Our next stop would be at the Byzantine Catholic monks of the Holy Transfiguration's cascade. Just up the road sits the brothers' home, a quiet reminder of the faith and service that supported mining families. It's one of the many spiritual roots in the copper country. The brothers' home on Highway 41 near Copper Harbor, Michigan, has a rich history as a residence and place of reflection for Catholic missionaries. In recent decades, the home underwent significant restoration, funded by a generous donation left to the religious community. This financial gift enabled the rebuilding of the structure, preserving its historical and spiritual significance for future generations. Today, the brothers' home stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of faith in the Keweenaw Peninsula. The Brothers of St. John Monastery continue to produce and sell their renowned jams. Through the Jampot, a quaint shop located near Jacobs Falls along M26 just outside Eagle Harbor, the Jampot offers a wide variety of homemade jams, including their famous Thimble Berry jam, as well as other baked goods and confections. As we head up the road, a short hike brings us to the Houghton Falls. This place is a hidden gem along the route, especially in spring when the meltwater flows strong. Houghton Falls in the Keweenaw Peninsula is a lesser-known but captivating waterfall tucked within the rugged, forested landscape of Michigan's Copper Country. Located off the beaten path near Eagle River, this small cascade is fed by seasonal runoff and local creeks, tumbling over ancient basalt rock shaped by both glacial and volcanic forces. The falls are often surrounded by dense greenery, moss-covered stones, and the soft sounds of wildlife, offering a serene escape into nature for those willing to explore beyond the main roads. It's a place where the power of water and the patience of time have carved out a quiet sanctuary in the Keweenaw wilderness.
We're at the Houghton Falls right now. We're on M26. We're between Laringham and Lake Linden, and we're up on the top right now. It's just a little stream that comes in, really hard to find from the road, but look for cars that are parked along there, because usually there are some. You follow this pathway back along the creek, and all of a sudden it just drops off. It's one of the largest waterfalls, according to the drop anyway, here in Michigan at 110 feet. Now there is a pathway down to the bottom. It's looking pretty steep. We'll decide in a few minutes here whether we want to try that out or not, or what we're going to do. But from the top here, you can see for a long ways, and you can see down into that canyon.
Once you've reached the summit, you'll be treated to sweeping vistas in virtually every direction. A small stream meanders between grassy banks before dropping over a series of small ledges where it continues into the rugged canyon that forms the Houghton Falls. Be prepared, however, for the dizzying drop to the bottom of the precipice. It is a steep drop, and there are no guardrails to prevent you from getting too close to the edge. Just be careful with your footing. You'll enjoy the sight of this cascading ribbon of white water plunging over 100 feet to the bottom of the canyon. This sign on the side of a building brings back some great memories.
The last place on earth. I came by here 25 years or so ago, and the feeling it gives you when you get here and seeing it for the first time is like you're at the last place on earth.
Our trip continues up US 41. Another great Keweenaw sign emerges. Snow! Yep, there is plenty of snow in the Keweenaw Peninsula.
If you look behind me, you see the thermometer for the amount of snow that they get up here in the Keweenaw. You know, we always worry about a little bit of snow, 4, 5, 6 inches at home, and yet you get up here and you see some real snow. Now, we were up here the year they got about 360 inches, and we had special t-shirts made up for it. Now, it wasn't the all-time high. As you can see, the all-time high is 390.4 inches in 1 year. That, folks, is a lot of snow.
As we move up, our next stop would be the Great Sand Bay. The Keweenaw Peninsula forms the northernmost contiguous landmass of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, sometimes called the Upper Peninsula's Upper Peninsula. The Keweenaw Peninsula extends some 75 miles north into Lake Superior, is measured from the southernmost point of the bay, being nearly surrounded by the legendary might of Lake Superior. It should come as no surprise that the Keweenaw has seen its share of shipwrecks. In the early days of Great Lake shipping, the Keweenaw Peninsula forced sailors into the deeper realms of Lake Superior, as the grasp of the winds and waves in this stretch of water can be fierce, and the broken timbers of many a lost vessel testify to the fact. One of Michigan's 5 underwater preserves is located at the far northern tip of Copper Harbor. This preserve contains 18 diveable wrecks, including the Mesquite, a 180-foot Coast Guard cutter which was dashed against the perilous shoals not far from shore. Obviously, the Keweenaw Peninsula has a fine assortment of lighthouses, and all are automated now. But many offer tours and small museum displays detailing the peninsula's maritime heritage. One of the nicest features of the peninsula is that it's fairly small. You can do a lot in just one day. It's barely 60 miles from Houghton and Hancock to the far northern end of the road. From east to west, you'll travel no more than 25 miles at the widest point. As you'll see, we'll be crisscrossing the peninsula from beginning to end and stop to stop on today's program. But as the dawn summer warmth began burning away the early morning mists, our sunrise journey down the coastline quickly became worth it. From alongside the shore at Lake Superior, the Keweenaw Mountains climbed in back in front, conjuring up visions of other more famous coastlines of the United States. With a start like this, it just had to be a good day. We followed the lakeshore south along US 41 to Lake Linden. Here to 26 North, first stop of the day is just down the road.
Here in the Keweenaw, there's all kinds of things to see. One of the big items in the historical items here is the mining that went on. Right now, we've come up to the Delaware mine, and I'm with Tom Pointer. He's the owner up here. And Tom, you've got tours that go on at the mine, and you've got old buildings around. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is?
Okay, well, this mine started back in 1847, and they ran about 40 years till 1887. So they went through the whole gamut from hand drilling on up to the era where they had the compressed air drills even. And this rock came right out of the mine, so they used what was on site.
Wow.
They used a little bit of Jacobsville sandstone, which comes from this area too, for some of the engine bases.
Okay, so everything came from right around here then?
That's right. You couldn't bring it in too easily.
What happened to the mine?
Well, the mine operated till 1887, ran out of copper, and then they closed up. Then over the years, as they needed scrap metal, say around World War I, they came through these areas and they took the old engines and things like this, scrapped it, so the only thing left are these stone walls which could hold up. All the wood kind of disappeared over the years.
You do actually have mine tours where people can go down into the mine?
That's right. We have tours 7 days a week during the summer from mid-May to mid-October. And we start out by showing a nice introductory video. It takes about 4 minutes. And the people see what it's like and where to go. And then they put hard hats on and down they go. They walk down steps for about 100 feet to the first level. And they walk almost 1,400 feet into the mine and finally come to the end. Then turn around, come back out, back up the stairs, right where they began.
Now, how many levels are in the mine?
Well, there are 10 levels, but they're flooded up to the first level.
Okay.
So the first level's open and you can see the water below. And back in the day, they had a big steam engine driving a pump, and that's how they kept it dry.
Aha. So again, when were the times that you're open?
We're open mid-May to mid-October, 7 days a week.
Okay, there you go. Great place. You can stop here, you learn a little bit about history, actually go down into one of the old mines. Really cool.
In the Keweenaw, one of many of the most pleasant memories comes from an interaction with the lake. One of the lake's greatest interactions can be seen along the bay. One of on the western shore, the Great Sand Bay is an incredible expanse of dunes, sculpted over centuries by the combined power of the glaciers and the incessant lake winds. Thousands of years of turbulence have left nothing but the beauty, though our journeys have often included stops along the scenic place. It was a fine time for reflection of all the times we've been here. No one could remember a calmer scene. The lake was flat save, just the easiest lapping of water along the sand. It was a good time to just stand along the shore and enjoy another of the wondrous moments to be found in Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
One of the stops you want to make when you come into the Keweenaw is up here on M26. Now we're just north of Eagle River, and we stopped at a place called the Great Sand Bay. Very high sand banks that overlook Lake Superior. You have to be a little bit careful because sometimes the sand will actually be blown across the road, so you want to be a little bit careful. But you pull in here, there's a nice sign here that tells you a little bit about Lake Superior. And as you can tell, the scenery is terrific here.
And this is just a sampling of the great views you're going to see.
Receding glaciers left the long, sloping coastline here. Along the Keweenaw as far northwestern shore, The buffeting winds and seas of Lake Superior then helped create this current expanse of dunes, ripping away the softest grasses and topsoil. Over the centuries, the tide brought millions of tons of lake bottom to shore. The winds tossed the beach inward up the hillsides and replaced the eroded landscape with the bronze blanket of soft sand you see today. The small town of Copper Harbor offers tourists, outdoor sports enthusiasts, historians, just about anyone else something of interest. Located at the very tip of the Cuban Peninsula, this rugged town thrives during the summer months. While the villages, towns, and cities we talked about during the introduction, Copper Harbor is one of the strongest. It has ridden through the harshest winters. At the northernmost tip of the peninsula, it has been fishing center, mining and lumbering port. It has sustained a U.S. military frontier. Today it flourishes to the sound of tourists who come for its history, its natural beauty, and its simplicity. Or you could join the hundreds of thousands who follow the winding trail to the top of the Keewenaw. A large sign proclaims the mountain statistics, and another gives a map of the area at 735 feet above the lake below and some 1,300 plus feet above sea level. Brockway Mountain cannot claim to be the highest peak in the country. It's not even the highest in the state, but it definitely ranks as one of the most memorable anywhere.
Well, Robert, we appreciate the fact that you're meeting us here today and telling us a little bit about the fort. And it seems like we've got some barracks or something here, and then we've got a gate, and we've got the fort behind us.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you for coming out. Yeah, welcome to Old Fort Wilkins. It's an 1844 era fort, established with the mining boom, really the first big mining boom in this country. We have a little bit of everything. As you mentioned, we've got married and enlisted men's cabins on the way into the stockade. Into the fort, we actually have 11 remaining original buildings dated back to 1844. Everything you see around the horseshoe, the officers' quarters, the barracks, the mess halls, are all original buildings, along with the quartermaster and sutler scores up on the hill. We do have a few reproductions that are done through archaeology and built at different periods from the 1930s through now.
Well, why don't you take us in?
Absolutely.
Everybody will look at it.
Fort Wilkins was designed and built as a frontier fort. Much like the forts of the Wild West, its purpose was to demonstrate an official presence in order to keep the peace throughout the Keweenaw, all during the early days of the copper boom. The peace took different forms, first between the incoming miners and the native tribes who recently lost the area in the Treaty of La Pointe. Second, between the miners themselves, land ownership and prospecting claims sometimes erupted into civil unrest. The fort took its first garrison in 1844. Unfortunately, the United States government sorely underestimated the fury of the north winds, which would blow through this fort during the Keewenaw's many months of winter. Frostbite, death, and desertion came in the first winter. The second saw more of the same. The fort was closed in 1846. And now it was time for one of my favorite pastimes at one of my favorite places, hiking the Montreal River pathway to the Montreal Falls.
Keweenaw Peninsula, we're out right now in the middle of nowhere just about. We're with Charlie, and Charlie's going to be taking us out on a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, we're going back to a very unusual river. The Montreal River is a short river in the Keweenaw, only about 20 miles long, but it courses across the backbone of the Keweenaw, all of the big lava flows that formed it, and then in the last mile it struggles to get through these lava flows to get to Lake Superior. So therefore, every time it breaks through one of these basalt flows, it has created a beautiful waterfall. So we're going to go see some beautiful waterfalls. We had a really nice rain last night, so the river's going to be full. And it'll be beautiful. We got a fabulous day.
We do have a fabulous day, and I know everybody's anxious to get going, so let's go ahead and start it.
You bet.
Looking at the map, it became apparent that we'd have a cool mountain forest on one side and the naturally cool nature of Lake Superior on the other. How could it miss?
Right through here is a pretty pristine place. I always tell the kids through here to watch out because there might be a dinosaur looking around one of those big old trees out there. Because it's like an old prehistoric forest.
It does.
You know. These are very old cedars. They're probably 400 years old. And they shade the ground so good that one has to fall over before anything else can come up under it.
As you look down here into the rocks, this is some of the lava flow that he was talking about. It would come out and form down further, and you would get these areas in between the lava that was a softer rock, and the waves have come in now and it's kind of cutting away at it. And that's why you get these points sticking out along the shoreline. Really pretty.
It was no easy task getting to either one of these waterfalls, as the footpath along Lake Superior is rough going at best. Blowdowns and foot-grabbing roots lie in wait for those who become impatient. But after hiking what was probably a mile along the often precipitous trail along Lake Superior, we finally came upon the first of the two Montreal River falls. As is usually the case, our favorite waterfall is one we just happened to be visiting at the time. They have a way of doing that to you. With the powerful rush of Montreal's whitewater meeting with the unyielding force of Lake Superior bordered on the sublime, it's been a while since we were affected in such a way. The lower falls is also the mouth of the Montreal River, and it plunges down a series of black rocky steps right into Lake Superior. From atop the falls, it looked to be at least a 20-foot total drop to the lake surface. A series of rough benches in the rock breaks up the falls, and in a number of places to create the wonderfully soothing sounds a waterfall is famous for.
We moved up the trail from Lake Superior. The first falls came in right at Lake Superior there. We moved up now. You can see the river has calmed down. We're getting into a really wild area through here. You notice the river too is stained kind of a brown colors from the tannic acid that's in the areas. But a lot of these cedars give off that kind of stuff and color the water this way. Up ahead we can hear water again. It sounds like a roar. Could be just some rapids, might be the other falls that's up here. So we're gonna head up and take a look. So the trail coming up the river is a little rougher. It's a trail less traveled, let me tell you. We're still following the river. We're looking for the second falls. We've got separated from everyone, so we're kind of out here alone. It's kind of nice, it's peaceful. But in the same respect, it's a little spooky. But that's okay, we're enjoying ourselves, and we're gonna keep going, see where it leads.
Up about a half-mile upstream from the lake in the lower falls is the upper falls. An invigorating and scenic footpath leads through a tangle of spruce and cedar trees along the river before revealing the first glimpse of the falls framed by more black rock. The falls are formed by water pouring 10 or 12 foot from a natural spout to a dark pool of water below as if to rest. Visiting Montreal Falls is more than just a destination. It's a journey into nature's masterpiece. The untouched beauty of this place offers an escape from the regular hustle and bustle, providing a serene and tranquil retreat where you can truly connect with the wild. As travel enthusiasts with an adventurous spirit and a love for the great outdoors, we all yearn for those hidden gems, the kind of places that are off the beaten path, a little rugged and unspoiled by tourist crowds. Well, that is what the trail to the Montreal Falls is. Please leave as nice as you have found it.
I'm Tom Boyle. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next trail. If you'd like more information, you can go to our website at greatgetaways.tv, and don't forget to check us out on Facebook for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.